What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. In this video, we're going to be covering what happened in the market today and some hot stocks that are moving right now and some other good setups for the rest of the week. With that being said, we have a lot of great plays and a lot of great news in today's video, so make sure you guys stick around to the end. But Tom, with that being said, let's get right into it.
Yeah, Mike, there's some pretty cool stocks that are running up. One of them being DWAC right now. We all know that this is the SPAC deal for Trump's social media platform. And this is actually running up quite a bit today, up 11.69%. This stock is getting a lot of hype behind it, Mike. And apparently CNBC reported some news actually last Thursday that said that the SPAC deal rises after social media app sets their target launch date in February. So that's going to be very interesting to see if they end up making that launch date. But it looks like there's a lot of hype around this stock right now, Mike, and it's really cool to see this one rising. I know that it initially got that hype the first couple of days that came onto the market and straight up exploded. I remember I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw it rise from like $11 up to $175. It just blew my mind, and it looks like it has that hype right back.
True that. So whether you like Trump or you don't like Trump, either way, the stock's moving, and it's definitely gathering like a lot of attention. So like Tom said, it's mainly moving off of news that Trump's social media platform is set to release in February. More specifically, it's set to release on February 21st, which is actually President's Day. So definitely keep this on your radar. We can see that there's definitely a lot of hype with this play right now, and it definitely has that like explosive potential as we've seen in the past. But with that being said, a lot of times in situations like this, we see like a buy the rumor, sell the news type of event. So, sometimes we'll get a bunch of hype leading up to the launch date. And then once the launch date actually happens, sometimes we see a sell-off, we can say, as people who've been holding the stock take profits. And this is actually pretty similar as like setups that we see in like the marijuana stocks and like even just like other stocks with earnings and things like that. Like, it's just important to be aware of that. When we have catalysts like this, sometimes there's a ton of opportunity to get in before the launch date. And then once the catalyst comes out, we can see some selling pressure.
Yeah, definitely. And people always like to take profits eventually. And, if this stock gets a lot of hype and we end up breaking up above like this $80 resistance, we could see this one maybe, going up to 100 or even higher. But definitely look at it for tomorrow. I will say we're coming up to some pretty key resistance levels. I see one like right around $72 to $75, right around where we are. If we start to break out of there, I'll definitely look for a move up towards 80 and then possibly even higher. But yeah, we had a great move today, up 11.69%. Like you said, you don't have to really like Trump for this one. Just look at it more of as a stock, and it has a lot of potential to the upside, especially I think for some shorter term like day trades and those types of plays.
And then Tom, how about like you just mentioned, like just a couple months ago, this stock went from $10 up to $175 in like a couple days. So like that's a big move, and we're starting to see it creep up again. We're not saying it's going to retest 175 in a couple days like it did last time, but either way, it's definitely a mover, and it looks like it's starting to get some hype.
Yeah, it really is. I'm glad to see it breaking out. And, whenever these stocks get hyped, they start to really run. I've seen some chatter in the Discord, and then I've even seen a little bit of stuff on Wall Street Bets. It hasn't caught on too much there, but I will say there's lots of good momentum with it. And, hopefully the hype comes in. And I'll be honest, if Wall Street Bets gets behind it, I think we might see a pretty good pop. And, as far as stocks popping today, Mike, it was a pretty good day. I will say the S&P 500 did pretty well. We had that inflation data come out early in the morning, and it came out right around 7%, which was just about as expected. And, the market actually liked the news, ended up doing pretty good. I will say it sold off in the middle of the day, but ended up just going flat. We ended up green, which was nice. And, some of the growth stocks did pretty well. Not all of them, but we saw some EV stocks like NIO end up popping. Tesla was in the green, and even the China stocks did very, very well.
Very interesting. So like you mentioned, the CPI data was high, but again, it was in line with expectations. With that being said, Tom, I saw like the precious metals creeping up there, and like even a couple other stocks.
Yeah, the precious metals did very well. I actually saw a great article on investing.com where they talk about gold going up for the fourth day in a row as inflation's rising. And it's just really nice to see articles like this about the precious metals starting to go up. Precious metals are a really good hedge against inflation and against the overall market. So I don't see any surprise that investors are starting to transition into these metals. And what's really interesting is that as we're seeing this transition into the metals, we're also seeing the transition back into these growth stocks. So it's really good to see them going up hand in hand.
There we go. So with that being said, Tom, what other major news do we have going on? Like, do we have any earnings reports? Any other plays you're seeing? Anything?
Yeah, we do actually have some pretty good earnings for tomorrow, Mike. I know lots of people in the Discord are looking at Taiwan Semiconductors. We didn't talk about this one too much during the week, but on Earnings Whispers chart, we can see tomorrow morning, we're going to have Delta Airlines and Taiwan Semiconductors reporting before market open. So we're going to have some pretty interesting moves. And I will say the big banks are going to be reporting on Friday, which is going to be even more important. But these stocks, Delta and Taiwan Semiconductors, have a lot of hype, Mike. And I'll be honest, TSM looks like it's getting a nice pre-earnings run up. Really nice to see here.
Yeah, it's definitely powering up there. And, like, I would say the market's getting pretty interesting right now in the sense that, we have some stocks like rising in a big way, but at the same time, we do have a good amount of stocks selling off. Like you mentioned earlier in the video, we had NEO up 5.5%. Alibaba did pretty well, but on the reverse side, we have companies like, let's say, Zoom down 3%, or even like Teladoc down 5%. So like we're seeing some growth companies rebound, but at the same time, some are just still like stuck at their lows.
Yeah, they are. It looks like Matterport even had a bad day. Like they've had a lot of hype lately. I know Peloton, a lot of people have been looking at them this week. They had some explosive movement. They also pulled back. Yeah, you're right. It's like it was really 50-50 today. I know one stock that really caught my eye to the upside was Boeing. I thought that one looked good early in the morning, but then we saw that pullback and we ended up falling right back below that 220 resistance. And yeah, you're right. A lot of stocks did end up down and it was very 50-50. And I feel like that the market had some trouble digesting this inflation news. Like, of course, the market initially rose off of it, but, I feel like that even though the news came in as expected, the thing that worries me is that it's still 7% inflation. Like that's really high still.
True that. Crazy stuff. But with that being said, let's get right into the momentum plays for tomorrow. And with the first one, we have Square to the downside.
Yeah, with Square, go ahead and make them fall below 145. That's actually going to be a pretty good support to break there.
Sounds good. And with the next one, we have NEO, but to the upside.
Yeah, I really hope NEO can get back up. Let's go ahead and make them break above $32 even.
There we go. And with the last one, we have Baidu to the upside.
Yeah, the China stocks make Baidu break above 162, and I kind of like this one.
All right, so we are watching Baidu and NEO for potential day trades to the upside tomorrow, only if they break above the levels Tom listed. And we are watching Square for a potential day trade to the downside tomorrow, only if it breaks below the level Tom listed. But with that being said, I just want to shout out our Discord member of the day really quickly, and that is Nick D. Huge shout out, Nick. Thanks for being an active member of the community. We appreciate your activity and all that you do for the chat. So thank you, Nick. Huge shout out to you. And let's get right into these comments from the previous video. With the first comment, we have Carlos saying, great video, guys. Baba double bottom. Do you think it's time to go long? With so many overpriced stocks, this one has potential for 2022. So great comment there. And I do. Of course, Baba is not a safe play like Apple or Microsoft or anything like that, but it is at a really good level. And I actually just made a video this past weekend 100% dedicated to Alibaba. I do like it at this level, and I feel like a lot of people are overlooking it, but with everything being said, I do like it.
Yeah, me too. And like Mike said, there were some big players getting into this one down here at the bottom, or at least averaging in. So that's great to see. And I'll be honest, on a technical level, it's looking great. We're getting really close to this 140 resistance. I feel like if we break this, we might start to finally fill this gap on the daily chart back up towards 160. And I think that this double bottom looks like it's forming an awesome support down here. So yeah, I like it at these levels too. I will say this resistance at 140 does worry me tomorrow, but I'm definitely looking for a break.
Here we go. And then we have John mentioning Tilray and then SNDL. So I do like these plays, but they're risky. They're not my favorite setups. They're basically gambles. So I'm going to say that. With that being said, Tilray is holding its ground relatively well. It was down 3% today, but it did hold its ground. We're like slowly creeping up there, and it has a recent catalyst, which is their earnings report, which wasn't bad. And Tilray is just one of those stocks where it'll just downtrend for months, and then out of nowhere, it'll just have like a 300% pop.
Yeah, like you said, they have some crazy movement to the upside and the downside. I really hope that they start getting that hype back. I'm really waiting for some marijuana legislation to come out. I think that'll really help these companies, and specifically, it'll even help more of the U.S. companies. I know Tilray should do pretty well with that news as well, but still, in the end, I'm looking for some of these U.S. companies to go up, Mike, and maybe we'll do a marijuana video if they start to talk about legalizing it or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, Tom, you know how those MJ stocks are. Like, they'll just explode out of nowhere, and all it takes is like one catalyst to just start the fire, and then we all know how these stocks go. Like, they go crazy. So interesting stuff there. And then we have Khan asking about GME for the short term. So, Tom, it's not looking too good. It just seems like every week it just trades lower and lower. It's really not a play for me. And in the beginning, this play was like 100% focused on like a short squeeze. But, the longer this stock just lingers at a low level, the better position that the hedge funds are in. So it's like every day that goes by that this stock does not like explode, or at least like doesn't show volatile movement to the upside, it just puts the hedge funds in a better and better position. So for that reason, it's not for me.
Yeah, me either. It's just, to be honest, GameStop and AMC just aren't my favorite right now. They're both kind of moving down. I will say GameStop had that good news last week where they got that big jump to the upside whenever they launched those NFTs, or at least they announced the rumor of it. And it's really good to see that they're going to be getting into the NFT game. I know that that's been pretty big for a few companies, so maybe it'll help them, but I still don't like them, to be honest. I think that they are still a little bit high on their share price right now. And obviously, like, they're both GME and AMC are just on the downtrend. So personally, I just don't like them right now.
Gotcha. So Tom, with that being said, do you have any last minute plays or anything for tomorrow?
I did just want to mention crude oil really fast. It looks like crude oil is back on the uptrend. It took a big dip there whenever we were trying to manipulate the price to the downside, but man, it roared right back up. We're almost back up to this $85 resistance. I don't know, but if we end up breaking up above $85, we might see oil up at $100 a barrel again pretty soon. It's getting crazy. We're seeing gold fly up, oil fly up. A lot of the commodities are doing pretty well right now with inflation. So I guess it makes some sense to see it up. But in the end, it's not good to see oil rising like this. It's going to start hurting the gas pumps again.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you like our style of videos, please consider subscribing. You'll get access, or you'll get recommended to our videos more. We're trying very hard to grow, and we're always upping our quality and quantity of the videos. So again, if you liked it, please consider subscribing. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. But other than that, thanks for watching.